In this video, I'll be going through the 48 laws of power, and today I'll be going through law number 16, law number 17, and law number 18. Law number 16 says, use absence to increase respect and honor. If people see you too much, or if they hear from you too much, at some point they will become sick of you. You could be the most charming, the most cheerful, the most charismatic person, but if you're just there all the time, at some point people will become tired of you. That's why, from time to time, you've got to remove yourself from the public, spend some time in seclusion, and make yourself scarce. By doing this, not only will you avoid becoming annoyingly common, but you will also increase your respect and your honor. An example of this law is in romantic relationships. When you're first attracted to somebody and you see them very rarely, let's say once a month, you can't wait to see them again. You think they're amazing and you can't stop thinking about them. But after a while, let's say you move in together, and rather than seeing them once a month, you see them every single day, what happens to many couples is they start to find each other annoying sometimes. Another example of this law is supply and demand. Companies will use this all the time when they make a limited edition version of a product that they have. Apple did this a while ago when they released a new phone and they made only a limited number of red phones. I think it was 100,000 or something like that. The red phones were super expensive because there were a limited number of them. Were the red phones any better than the other phones? No. Was the camera better? No. Was the battery better? No. Was the processing power better? No. The only thing that the red phone had on the other phones was the fact that it was red. No other reason. Unbelievable. But because it was rare, its value increased. Familiarity breeds contempt, whereas absence makes the heart grow fonder. Just like companies make limited edition versions of their products to increase their value, you can also increase your value by becoming limited. From time to time, remove yourself from the public, spend some time in seclusion, and make yourself scarce. And when you do this, don't just disappear for the sake of disappearing. That's beginner level. But when you're away, spend time developing yourself, gaining some knowledge, broadening your horizons, so that when you re-emerge, you are no longer the same person that you were, but you have new stories to tell, new experiences to share, and inspire others around you. That's law number 16. Law number 17 says, keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. In other words, never let them know your next move. I know that this has now become a meme, but don't let the fact that it's a meme distract you from how powerful this law is. If you are predictable, people know exactly what you're about to do. And if people know exactly what you're about to do, you become boring. And when you become boring, well, that's it really, it's over. However, to avoid becoming boring, you have to be unpredictable. Keep people guessing, keep people on their toes. Let them be curious about what you are about to do next. The reason for this is our brains crave novelty. When we experience new things, things that have never happened to us before, our brains release positive endorphins. For example, remember the time that you first got a new car? I don't know about you, but I was very, very excited. I would find random journeys to go on. And if I wasn't going on a journey, I would just be sat in the car, stationary, not moving, just for the sheer enjoyment of being in the car. That lasted maybe a few weeks. After that, I soon became accustomed to the car, and weeks would go by without me even cleaning the car. And the car was just another commonplace car like other cars which I'd had before. The novelty wore off. And it wouldn't be until I got another new car that that same excitement would return once more. I'm saying all that to say this. Our brains crave new experiences. Unless we're constantly experiencing new things, our brains will not be satisfied. The other part of this law says, keep people in suspended terror. This is something that you need to be aware of. You need to be aware of it because people might try and do this to take advantage of you. For example, someone who normally texts you when they're talking to you might want a favor one day, and they might want you not to have enough time to properly process exactly what it is that they want to ask you. They want to catch you off guard and make you make a decision on the spot without having enough time to think about it. So one thing they might do is call you and make it seem as though that decision has to be made there and then, or else it's the end of the world. Do not fall for this trap. They are trying to keep you guessing. They're trying to be unpredictable, and they're trying to keep you in suspended terror. It's okay to say, give me some time to think, please. Or, I don't want to decide now. I'm going to decide later. That will stop you making rash decisions, and anyone who wants to try and use this law against you will utterly fail. So this law has two parts. Part number one, do not be predictable. Spice things up. Try new things. Try new things with your friends. Try new things with your family. Try new things in your relationship to keep the flame alive. And the second part is, do not succumb to people's attempts to try and keep you in suspended terror by trying to shock you or use scare tactics to make it seem like you have less time than you actually do. It's not true. You have all the time you need. Law number 18 says, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. We are social beings. We don't just like interacting with others, but we need to interact with others. Right from the beginning, when God made Adam, he said, it is not good that man should be alone. Without the presence of others, we become lonely. We become isolated, and we may develop severe problems. We see an example of the power of isolation in the film The Shawshank Redemption. Most of that film is spent in prison, where people go there for 20 years, 50 years, 70 years, crazy amounts of time to be locked up. You would think that things can't get any worse, but they can. When somebody does something very bad in prison, they get sent to a place called the Hole. In the film, it was called the Hole. And that's the worst imaginable punishment ever. It's a place of solitary confinement. You have nobody to talk to, nobody to interact with. The minutes feel like hours, the hours feel like days, and the days feel like months. Another reason why you shouldn't isolate yourself is because things are always evolving and at a very quick rate. I guarantee you that whatever time you're watching this video, things are different now, much more different now than they were a month ago. Language changes, trends change, there are news updates. These are things that you need to be aware of so that you can relate with people and people can relate with you. If you isolate yourself, you become out of touch. You can't relate with anybody, and as a result, you'll become powerless. Sometimes it's a good thing to spend some time alone, to spend some time with yourself, to essentially ghost. Law number 16 even said, use absence to increase respect and honor, but don't overdo it. Otherwise, you'll become irrelevant and forgotten about. The key here is balance. That is law number 16, law number 17, and law number 18. Join me next time for the next 3 laws. If you enjoyed this video, I'm certain that you will like the other videos which I've made on the 48 laws of power. You will find them in this playlist here. Until then, see you next time, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications so that you can be alerted whenever a new video is released.